talk about Elon Musk because there's a lot of people that are basically complaining about what's happening with DOGE. They don't like it. I call them agents of chaos, though. I call them agents of chaos. The reason that I call them agents of chaos is because it does not matter what you do inside of our government agencies. They're always going to complain. They're always going to say it's something wrong. They're always going to have an issue. It's nothing that you can do right, even though you're doing the thing that's best for them. It's nothing that you can do right. But Elon Musk, and I also want to say this, the Trump administration has talked to the press every single day. Every day. The Trump administration has been making himself available to the press every single day. He has been the most transparent president that we've ever seen in our lives. And he has made himself available to the press, even to questions that come from the ops. I don't think that you can discount that. People are running out of things to get mad at Trump about. People are running out of things to get mad at Trump about. Let's dig into it. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel with turn on your notifications. This is Elon Musk and Trump specifically speaking to reporters inside of the White House, breaking down exactly what's going on.
Which is the bureaucracy, which has, in a lot of ways, currently more power than any elected representative. And this is not something that people want. And it's not. It does not match the will of people. So it's just something we've got to fix. And then we've also got to address the deficit. So we've got a $2 trillion deficit. And if we don't do something about this deficit, the country's going bankrupt. I mean, it's really astounding that the interest payments alone on the national debt exceed the Defense Department budget, which is shocking because we spend a lot of money on defense. But and if that just keeps going, we're essentially going to bankrupt the country. So what I really want to say is, like, it's not optional for us to reduce the federal expenses. It's essential.
Let's stop there for a minute. We are basically paying between $1 and $2 trillion in interest. All I want to know is, how can I be a part of the investor that then get that interest payment that's from the United States of America? Because basically we financed ourselves into oblivion. We've put ourselves in a position to where we are all we're going to forever be. Basically, we ran the country, our previous politicians, our Congress. And I also think that we need to hold Congress accountable. Think about this for a second. You've had Nancy Pelosi, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, all of these people inside of Congress for years. I'm not even going to put this at the feet of Jasmine Crockett. I'm not going to put it at the feet of Jasmine Crockett, AOC. I'm not going to put this at their feet. I think that they've been very, very bad in their ability to really approve certain budgets and getting certain things done. But I'm not even going to put it at their feet. I'm going to put it at the feet of our previous presidents along with Congress, right? And if you think about it for a second, we got to $36 trillion and growing in debt, right? $36 trillion and growing in debt. And they're sitting there talking about on these platforms of oligarchy and how we need to keep all of these government agencies open. Here's my question. Who's going to pay for that? Who's going to pay for that? Because eventually the interest payments are going to outweigh and they're going to grow. It's going to grow to the point to where it becomes unsustainable. And then who's going to basically bankrupt the United States of America? Because remember, your life is pretty much done. You dusty. And I'm not talking about you that's watching this in the chat specifically. I'm saying that all of these liberals that continue to just want to do stuff but don't have the I know a lot of people in real life that really, really want to go and buy a Rolls Royce. They want a Cadillac. Who gonna pay for it though? You got money? She got money? Who gonna pay for it? Almost $2 trillion in interest payments is insane, bro. It's absolutely insane. And at some point, you had to cut off the spigot. We cutting off the faucet. We got to allow for people to be able to heal. And we need to fix America. And the only way that you do that is the same way that you do your own personal budget. We got to find out where the money is going. And more importantly, we need to right size our household. We got to right size the government. That's basically what this is and what we're doing.
It's essential for America to remain solvent as a country. And it's essential for America to have the resources necessary to provide things to its citizens and not simply be servicing vast amounts of debt.
And also, could you mention some of the things that your team has found, some of the crazy numbers, including the woman that walked away with about 30 million,
right?
Et cetera?
Well, we do find it sort of rather odd that there are quite a few people in the bureaucracy have ostensibly a salary of a few $100,000, but somehow manage to accrue tens of millions of dollars in net worth while they are in that position, which is, what happened to USAID. We're just curious as to where it came from.
I am too. I am absolutely baffled at some of these Congress members and some of these people that are in government branches that somehow is accumulated a net worth. They don't put in the same work as us. They don't own the same businesses. Somehow they always make the right play. They always make the right stock play. Somehow their wealth just balloons. They start these companies that's always successful. They don't have the same failure rate as the rest of us experts and people that's actually been in industries, and they don't have the same risk rate. And they only make $200,000 a year. They still pay their taxes, and somehow they've accumulated a net worth in the tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. How? Get out of here, bro. Get the heck out of here. We not going for it, bro.
Maybe they're very good at investing, in which case we should take their investment advice, perhaps. But just there seems to be mysteriously they get wealthy. We don't know why. Where does it come from? And I think the reality is that they're getting wealthy at the taxpayer expense. That's the honest truth of it. So we're looking at say we just if you look at say Treasury, for example. Basic controls that should be in place, that are in place in any company, such as making sure that any given payment has a payment categorization code, that there is a comment field that describes the payment, and that if a payment is on the do not pay list, that you don't actually pay it. None of those things are true currently. So the reason that departments can't pass audits is because the payments don't have a categorization code. It's like just a massive number of blank checks just flying out the building. So you can't reconcile blank checks. You've got comment fields that are also blank, so you don't know why the payment was made. And then we've got this truly absurd, a do not pay list, which can take up to a year for an organization to get on a do not pay list. And this, we're talking about terrorist organizations, we're talking about known fraudsters, known aspects of waste, known things that do not match any congressional appropriation, can take up to a year to get on the list. And even once on the list is not used. It's mind-blowing. So what we're talking about here, we're really just talking about adding common sense controls that should be present, that haven't been present.
And one of the reasons that they're so mad at these young guys, these super young guys that's not tainted, that hasn't been a part of the system, that has no vested interest other than to do their job and find out where all of this stuff is coming from. They're so mad because it cuts off the spigot and it starts to uncover the processes. Remember, life is about processes. If I ran my companies and I had my books look like this, the IRS would absolutely cook me. Speaking of the IRS, I think we're going to dismantle the IRS, but we're going to get to that later on in the show. You're telling me the Department of Treasury doesn't have accountability, line items, comments to know where things are going, nor do they really have any kind of checks and balances to make sure that people are getting the payments that they're supposed to get and the social security numbers of the people actually exist. Tax ID, something. It's just these blank statements, these blank payments that's just going, and it's just going out anywhere. Come on, man. You expect me to believe that? How can anybody then dispute this?
So you say, like, well, how could such a thing arise? That seems crazy. When you understand that really everything is geared towards complaint minimization, so that then you understand the motivations. So if people receive money, they don't complain, obviously. But if people don't receive money, they do complain. And the fraudsters complain the loudest and the fastest. So then when you understand that, then it makes sense. Oh, that's why everything they approve all the payments at Treasury. Because if you approve all the payments, you don't get complaints. But now we're saying that, no, actually, we are going to complain. If money is spent badly, if your taxpayer dollars are not spent in a sensible and frugal manner, then that's not okay. Your tax dollars need to be spent wisely on things that matter to the people.
Agreed.
I mean, these things, it's just common sense. It's not draconian or radical. I think it's really just saying, let's look at each of these expenditures and say, is this actually in the best interest of the people? And if it is, it's approved. If it's not, we should think about it. So, there's crazy things like just cursory examination of Social Security, and we've got people in there that are 150 years old. Now, do you know anyone who's 150? I don't. Okay. They should be on the Guinness Book of World Records. They're missing out. So, that's the case where, like, I think they're probably dead. It's my guess. Or they should be very famous, one of the two. And then there's a whole bunch of Social Security payments where there's no identifying information. Well, like, why is there no identifying information? Obviously, we want to make sure that people who deserve to receive Social Security do receive it, and that they receive it quickly and accurately.
I think that we may have existed under one of the most corrupt governments that has ever existed in the face of in life. We have to have existed under one of the most corrupt governments ever. There's no way around it, y'all. It's absolutely no way around it. Somebody that is 150 years old, ain't nobody 150 years old getting Social Security payments. People, they just remove just ghost numbers. People's just ghosts, just millions of dollars just going out every single month in payments from our U.S. Treasury, and everybody is complaining. Democrats are complaining and saying that we don't need people that's auditing the federal government. No, the best person to audit the federal government is Elon Musk with his team. And the reason that is because we know that you can't pay him enough money. It is nothing for him to gain from it. He actually cares about this president. He cares about this administration. He cares about the United States of America. He cares about the interests of the United States of America. He's run several different successful companies, both physically and electronically, technologically, across the board, innovation, research, and development. He understands exactly what you're supposed to look for. Who else is more qualified than him? This is absolutely disrespectful. And anybody that's not looking at it like that, otherwise, I just question your sanity.
I'll tell you another crazy thing. So, one of the things is, like, we are trying to sort of right-size the federal bureaucracy, just make sure that this, obviously there needs to be a lot of people working for the federal government, but not as many as currently. So we're saying, well, okay, let's, if people can retire, with full benefits and everything, that would be good. They can retire, get their retirement payments, everything. And then we were told, this is actually, I think, a great anecdote, because we were told that the most number of people that could retire possibly in a month is 10,000. We're like, well, why is that? Well, because all the retirement paperwork is manual on paper. It's manually calculated, then written down on a piece of paper. Then it goes down a mine. And like, what do you mean a mine? Like, yeah, there's a limestone mine where we store all the retirement paperwork. And you look at a picture of this mine. We'll post some pictures afterwards. And this mine looks like something out of the 50s because it was started in 1955.
Jesus.
So it looks like it's like a time warp. And then the speed, the limiting factor is the speed at which the mine shaft elevator can move determines how many people can retire from the federal government. And the elevator breaks down sometimes, and then nobody can retire.
It almost is like a bad joke. You can't. No. The limit of the amount of people that can retire in a month is only 10,000 because the processes for manually being able to, push this thing through causes for you to go up and down in an elevator in a limestone mine that was made in the 1950s. Get the heck out of here with this crap, bro. Get the heck out of here. No freaking way. Impossible. When I first seen this live stream and when I first started breaking this down, I said, what in the world in Jesus' name is happening? Honestly. Who knew about this? Why don't we have this level of transparency so that we can better understand exactly how our federal government is ran? I'm intrigued. I'm genuinely intrigued. I want to see everything. I want to know everything. But, if you leave it up to these raging liberals, they just want to put their heads in their hands and say, I don't see anything. Just make sure that everything continues to stay the way that it is. This is crazy, bro. It's almost like a car crash that you're watching, but you can't take your eyes off of it.
Doesn't that sound crazy? There's like 1,000 people that work on this. So I think if we take those people and say, like, you know what, instead of working in a mine shaft and carrying manila envelopes to, boxes in a mine shaft, you could do practically anything else. And you would add to the goods and services of the United States in a more useful way.
Where can I sign up for the mine shaft job? That sounds like job security to me. I know that when Musk and when Trump got in office and they said that DOGE is about to edit every single government office, I know the mine shaft people was like, oh, shoot. I guess the jig is up. If you were one of the thousands of people that worked the mine shaft job, for the 10,000 people that are retiring, you had to have stocked some money up. You had to really like at some point you was like, you know what? Over these last 30 years, we've been getting this bag. Over this last 40, 50 years, we've been getting this bag. At some point, the jig is going to be up. So we're going to have to get as much money as we possibly can and save for everything. Give me the mine shaft job, bro. Good God. Jeez, he didn't say like an underground basement. He said a limestone cave that got an elevator that they keep the retirement paperwork in that you got to go up and down in. And if the elevator break down and then a lot of people can't retire that month. Oh my God. Mine pictures are online. Mine shaft plus minus the cancer is built into the side of a mountain. Good Jesus Christ.
So anyway, so I think, that's an example. At a high level, if you say, like, how do we increase prosperity, is we get people to shift from roles that are low to negative productivity to high productivity roles. And so you increase the total output of goods and services, which means that there's a higher standard of living available for everyone. That's the actual goal. No one's very quiet.
Crazy.
Are people normally this quiet?
Your detractors, Mr. Musk.
I have to what?
Including a lot of Democrats.
I have detractors?
You do, sir.
I don't believe it.
Say that you're orchestrating a hostile takeover of government and doing it in a non-transparent way. What's your response to that criticism?
Well, first of all, you couldn't ask for a stronger mandate from the public. The public voted. We have a majority of the public voting for President Trump. We won the House. We won the Senate. The people voted for major government reform. There should be no doubt about that. That was on the campaign. The president spoke about that at every rally. The people voted for major government reform, and that's what people are going to get. They're going to get what they voted for. And a lot of times, people that don't get what they voted for, but in this presidency, they are going to get what they voted for. And that's what democracy is all about.
Yep.
Mr. Musk, the White House says that you will identify and excuse yourself from any conflicts of interest that you may have. Does that mean that you are in effect policing yourself? What are the checks and balances that are in place to ensure that there is accountability and transparency?
Well, we actually are trying to be as transparent as possible. In fact, we post our actions to the DOGE handle on X and to the DOGE website. So all of our actions are maximally transparent. In fact, I don't think there's been, I don't know of a case where an organization has been more transparent than the DOGE organization. So, and the kind of things we're doing are, I think, very, very simple and basic. They're not, what I mentioned, for example, about Treasury, just making sure that payments that go out, taxpayer money that goes out, is categorized correctly, that the payment is explained, that organizations on the do not pay list, which takes a lot to get there, that actually are not paid, which currently they are paid. These are not individual judgment decisions. These are about simply having sensible checks and balances in the system itself to ensure that taxpayer money is spent well. So it's got nothing to do with, like, say, a contract with some company of mine at all.
But if there is a conflict of interest when it comes to you yourself, for instance, you've received billions of dollars in federal contracts when it comes to the Pentagon, for instance, which the president, I know, has directed you to look into.
Yeah.
Are you policing yourself in that? Is there any sort of accountability check and balance in place that would provide any transparency for the American people?
Well, all of our actions are fully public. So if you see anything, you say, like, wait a second, hey, Elon, that seems like maybe that's, there's a conflict there. It's not like people are going to be shy about saying that. They'll say it immediately.
Including you yourself.
Yes, but transparency is what builds trust, not simply somebody asserting trust. So not somebody saying they're trustworthy, but transparency, so you can see everything that's going on.
I agree.
And then you can see, am I doing something that benefits one of my companies or not? It's totally obvious.
So what he's basically saying is, if you have a problem, you're more than welcome to go to the DOGE handle to see exactly what we're revealing. Nobody is hiding from you. This is exactly what the people voted for. Why are you complaining? And we're directing our energy in the wrong place. We'd rather complain about the person that's finding the fraud than the fraud. We'd rather complain about the person that is finding the fraud than the fraud. When did we get to the point to where that was more meaningful than actually finding the people that are finessing you and taking the money out of your pocket? I want to know who the thief is. I'm not really as concerned about the person that I'm tasking to find the thief. And I want to know where my money is. I want to know where the thief is. I want to know where my money is. I'm not as concerned about how he found my money and whether or not the thief is a good person or a bad person. I want to know who the thief is, and I want to know where my money is. And why are we complaining about that? Why is that something that we are having a hard time reconciling? And I'll tell you exactly why. It's a rhetorical question. We're having a hard time with that because there are so many people that are trying to prevent us from finding out what's going on, and they're a part of this corrupt government system. I think that we need to root out all government corruption for the sake of our children. Forget you. We have to do it for the people that's coming after us. If we can't do it for ourselves, do it for the people that's coming after us. 90% of every decision that I make in life is based off of what's best for my daughter, not for me at all.
And if we thought that, we would not let him do that segment or look in that area if we thought there was a lack of transparency or a conflict of interest. And we watch that also. He's a big businessman. He's a successful guy. That's why we want him doing this. We don't want an unsuccessful guy doing this.
Right.
Now, one thing also that Elon hasn't really mentioned are the groups of people that are getting some of these payments. They're ridiculous. And we're talking about billions of dollars that we've already found. We found fraud and abuse. I would say those two words as opposed to the third word that I usually use, but in this case, fraud and abuse. It's abusive because most of these things are virtually made up, or certainly money shouldn't be sent to them. And you know what I'm talking about. It's crazy. So, but we're talking about tens of billions of dollars that we've already found. And now a judge who's an activist judge wants to try and stop it.
Activist judge. An activist judge.
Us from doing this. Why? Why would they want to do that? I campaigned on this. I campaigned on the fact that I said government is corrupt. And it is very corrupt. It's very, very, it's also foolish. As an example, a man has a contract for 3 months and the contract ends, but they keep paying him for the next 20 years, because nobody ends a contract. You got a lot of that. You have a contract that's a 3-month contract Now, normally, if you're in a small, in all fairness, it's the size of this thing is so big.
Yeah.
But if you have a contract and you're in a regular business, you end the contract in 3 months. You know, it's a consult. Here's a contract for 3 months, but it goes on for 20 years. And the guy doesn't say that he got money for 20 years. You know, they don't say it. They just keep getting checks month after month. And you have various things like that. And even much worse than that, actually, much worse. And I guess you call that incompetence, maybe.
Yeah.
It could be corruption. It could be a deals made on both sides, you know, where the guy gets the money, he kicks. I think there's a lot of kickback here. I see a lot of kickback here,
There's a lot of kickbacks.
a tremendous kickback, because nobody could be so stupid to give out some of these contracts.
Yeah.
So he has to get a kickback. So that's what I got elected for, that and borders and military and a lot of things, but this is a big part of it. And I hope that the court system is going to allow us to do what we have to do. We got elected to among other things, find all of this fraud, abuse, all of this horrible stuff going on. And we've already found billions of dollars, not like a little bit, billions, many billions of dollars. And when you get down to it, it's going to be probably close to $1 trillion. It could be close to $1 trillion that we're going to find. That will have quite an impact on the budget.
Yes.
And you'll go to a judge where they handpick a judge and he has certain leanings. I'm not knocking anybody for that, but he has certain leanings and he wants us to stop looking. How do you stop looking? I mean, we've already found it.
How do you stop looking? That's the greatest question of all time. How do you stop looking? How do you find yourself in a space to where you're no longer looking? Why would you stop looking? Why would you stop looking for fraud? Why would a judge, come on, y'all, let's just have a conversation. Why would a judge tell you, hey, man, we're going to stop you from looking for fraud unless the judge themselves are corrupt? We in Gotham City, yo. We are in Gotham City, and I think that it's so bad. It is so bad. It is so negative. You know, we asked a question, and then I'm going to move over to the next portion of the show, and I'm going to read the super chats also. We asked the question after the election, right? And we said, well, Kamala Harris raised and spent over $1.5 billion during her campaign, right? Right? Cool. Who donated $1.5 billion? Who are the people in the suites? Who donate? Why would people spend $1.5 billion? Why are they giving her this egregious amount of money? Are they patriots? Do they really believe in women's rights? Or is it to keep in place a system that allows for them to continue to run up a bag fraudulently at the expense of taxpayers? I donate too. Oh, it's way to me. I would donate too. I would absolutely donate. I would campaign. Listen, if you got the spigot on, and this is a waterfall, it's like manna from heaven. It's manna from heaven. You have this unlimited water source that's basically paying for your entire life, probably pay and put so many people through college, probably ensure that so many people got rich. You see all of these people over in Monaco during the F1 race and all of this stuff, and you got all of these people that's just running up a bag, right? Why wouldn't I say that I'm a liberal? Nobody knows nothing. Nobody's talking about it. I've been getting Social Security payments for over 150 years. Of course, I'm going to be a raging liberal. We all trying to figure out, why are these people so against the United States of America? And why don't they want to do the thing that's in the best interest of the taxpayers? The same reason why we call this the Millionaire Morning Show, because it all comes back down to the money. You look at politics, they sitting there talking about, we're here for democracy. They're here for their pocketbooks. You want to know why all of these Congress people, They'll raise millions, tens of millions of dollars, and then clown each other. They be clowning each other during the Senate hearings, going off back and forth. Jasmine Crockett and Nancy Mace going back and forth with each other, talking about, yeah, you must having problems with fundraising. So we're raising tens of millions of dollars for these people to continue to run in a race so that they can get a $250,000 salary. Come on, man, let's just look at it logically for what it is. They're raising tens of millions of dollars so that they can live off of $250. Why would people donate tens of millions of dollars for you to continue to keep your seat inside of the Senate? So that you can make $250,000. For me, my small-minded pea brain, it just doesn't make sense. You're raising and spending millions to keep a seat. You're fighting to. Listen, people fight harder for their seats in Congress, to be governors, to be mayors, to be whatever. They fight harder to keep those seats than they do to keep their kids. They fight harder to keep their space in these political arenas than they do to keep their marriages, than they do to keep their kids, than they do to keep anything. Boy, what? No. You're not going to take my seat in Congress. They ain't even tripping off that little salary. They ain't tripping off that. You can have my kids. You can have my marriage. You can have anything, but you're not going to take my seat. You ain't going to take my seat. Like, why are these people fighting so hard for these seats? Why is that such a big deal? Why is that so important to them? I got this sneaking suspicion that over the next 18 months, we're going to find out.